All right, so the purpose of this video is to provide some clarification on assignment 1, which is the bug tracking application. So what we said so far is start by understanding what's the purpose of this, and the purpose is to build any type of a system or a process which you would want to work with to do all of these requirements. The ideal deliverable, and do the best job you can, but the ideal deliverable is a product, a system, a mechanism, a process, a system or some process, some set of processes. To do all of these requirements. And make it something that you would like to work with. If you actually had to use your own system at work, make it something that you would like to use. Because there's a pretty good chance, especially if you go to work for a smaller company, right? A lot of the new jobs right now are startups. They are, some people had some idea, and it's pretty easy to start new business ventures these days because, you can get cheap hosting and stuff. But it may often be a programmer who comes up with a great idea, but they don't really have an awareness that you have to wrap all this business processing around them. You might be the one who tells them you need to have a bug tracking application. And their answer is going to be, okay, good. Well, if I need it, you go and set it up. So what tool would you like to work with if you were in that situation? So the intention is step number 1, you validate your bug, right? So step 1, validate reported product deficiencies. Is it really a deficiency? Is it a customer mistake? Or is it a new something maybe we want to consider as a new feature request? Validate reported product defect. And now, assuming you get to step 2 here, so step 2, so now assuming it now has, if it gets to step 2, it is validated, it's really a defect, our software specification or our software quality metrics are being violated, it's a valid bug. So our software specification and you guys need to go, you can go. It's 5:28, our class ended 8 minutes ago. I don't even know if anybody is here. I might be talking to myself, I guess. Doesn't matter, I'll still kick out the video later. If you want to stay and hang around with me, that's great, you can do that. So assuming it's a valid bug, our software specification or our software quality metrics, and now you've seen your assignment 2, so you have a better sense of what that means, are being violated. There's some loss of stakeholders. Hopefully nobody is dying, but somebody's concerns are not being addressed. That's what a loss of stakeholders means, right? Loss of a stakeholder's concerns. They're not getting what they need out of the product. So our specification or quality metrics are being violated. There is some loss of stakeholder going on. Some loss of stakeholder concerns happening. Assuming it's a valid bug, you now send it to somebody to start working on it, right? So step 1, it was looked at by the quality assurance team lead, and she goes, yeah, that's really a problem. We better fix it. Sent for validation to the QA test team lead, let's say, in your organization. That's the way it's done. So step 2, assuming, yeah, it's a bug, you now assign it to a developer to reproduce and fix. What are all the things you need to know in that case? You assign it to a developer. And by the way, if you read through the workbook I gave you on Bugzilla, it says all of the things I'm saying here. So you can go and read, you could go and read the lab workbook as well. It says it all there. You assign it to a developer to reproduce and fix. So what do you need in this case? So what does that mean? Well, it means that you need to capture in your information system. So this means you need to capture in your bug tracking application all of the steps that make the problem happen. Which screen, which database, which version of the database, which data, right? If you click the mouse on the left side of the screen, does the product lock up? Like, what do you have to do to make that problem happen? All the steps the user did to make the problem happen need to be captured, described in your system, and reproduced. All the steps the user took or did to cause the problem to happen must be described so they can be reproduced. So you've assigned it to a developer, and that probably is as much as that's the main part of the bug tracking application. Now, step 3, developer would correct the code, and this is going to be more of a capstone project course here, but I was asked to give a complete example, so I'm giving it. So developer fixes, like it changes, rewrites the code or something, or recodes the relevant or updates or whatever you want to say it, changes the relevant portions of the product code and checks it into GitHub or whatever is your source code versioning system, changes the relevant sections of product code, sends their fix or sends notification to the QA team to retest it. And that once we've certified the problem has gone away, once QA team lead certifies the error is no longer occurring, we notify the well, depending, but I mean, if it's like just somebody, like it's a $50 software package to do your taxes or something, and somebody emails in a problem, you're probably not going to email them back. But assuming it's a big customer or it's a major stakeholder, you would notify the person who created the bug. So once the error is no longer occurring, you notify the stakeholder who created the defect in the system that the fix is in place, created the defect, that it has been fixed, and you close the issue, you close the ticket. You notify the stakeholder who created the defect that it has been fixed, and you close the ticket. Now, just let me check back to my meeting to make sure, see if anybody is still here. Saeed, I guess hopefully I'm answering the question, I guess, okay. So now I'm going to go and do a demonstration. And I always kind of hesitate to do this because I don't want you guys to just repeat everything I'm doing. The purpose is for you guys to think through and hopefully come up with your own creative ideas. But I'll show you what one possible solution would look like. All right, so let's do that. Just out of curiosity, how many people are still here? Oh, 17 people, not bad. That's good. All right, so now I'm logged in with Peanut's account. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to say make a new Trello board. Hopefully I can. I haven't run out of boards now because this is a free account. I'm going to call it Peanut's Bug Tracker. And I probably shouldn't do this, but I'm actually going to make it public and give you the link. Guys, please just don't repeat Peanut's work. He's a dog. He's going to come and bite you. It'll make him upset. But you guys aren't going to do that, I know. So we'll say make board public, and I'll click out the link so you can look at it. So where's the link here? Where's my I want a create yeah. I guess I'll send you a link here. So you can look at this sample board, but please don't just give me back what Peanut did. I'll give the marks to him. I won't give them to you. So you can study my sample Trello board here. Now, what would it look like? Well, and by the way, a lot of small organizations, they use Trello, especially if it's maybe, they just have a couple of big clients or something. They actually let their clients jump directly into the Trello board to create their defects. Now, there's things you can do with Trello I'm not going to teach you because that could be a 14-week course just by itself. But you see this thing called Butler. You can set up email notifications. So if somebody creates a Trello card, you can have a QA team lead or somebody, it can do email notifications. They're called power-ups. Now you need to pay. I think you need to pay like $5 or $10 a month or something, but then you can get power-ups. But here I'm going to add a list. So I'm going to call this my intake queue. Well, the queue is just a list, right? So this is problems that people are bringing in here. So maybe now, and then you have to define a template. And if you do this in an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet, in a sense, that kind of might be a little bit better structured. But you could also just notify, right? You could have like an instruction document for your people saying what to put here. And in terms of your structure for your assignment, you could maybe tell me what your template would be. But here, maybe I would have something like the name of the person reporting bug. Now, if you click there, you can get to this larger panel to put more stuff here, right? So you could say name of the reporter, like meaning the person who's opening the bug. And then you could say severity. And how you choose to qualify this sort of depends on what your software quality metrics are. But severity, maybe 1 to 5, meaning like 5, it's just cosmetic. I don't like the color of the screen. 1, it crashes my system every time I use it. So how bad a problem is this? And then you could have steps to reproduce. And then maybe you could have something like notify when fixed. So anyway, here you would have a card, and you would make one of these for each single bug. So each person reporting a bug. So Peter, and I'm going to say this is like severity 4, meaning not very important. Then you could have like a description of it. I could say locks up during heavy database, like if I'm updating a database a lot during heavy database updates. And then steps to reproduce, and then I maybe give them a link to a Dropbox or something with my data. I'll say I went to this screen, I did this, I uploaded these 20 records, I clicked here. So you could have a link to a Google Docs or something with the description. And then notify when fixed. I don't know, I'll put my email address. They can go and notify me there. So I now have one bug in my system, right? I have one thing there. And maybe here you could put like a high-level description of it. So you could say things like locks up during database use. And now imagine I might have like 20 of those cards or something. And now here I could have something like validated and assigned to developer, meaning assigned to a developer to get it fixed for remediation. And now I might have another swim lane here in my Trello. And by the way, if you're not understanding what I'm doing, you have not watched my video, right? I did give you a video on using Trello for project management. And if you're sitting there saying, I don't really understand this, I'm sorry, guys. I can't like teach everything from first principles. Well, I mean, I guess I could. I could talk about it more on Tuesday. But this is very thoroughly described in my video, which I did ask you to watch. And I'll kick out a link to it again. And it's an example from a mobile app development thing here. So if you watch my video on Trello, it will make much more sense, believe me. Using Trello to do software project management. There you go. Copy video URL. So watch my video on using Trello if you're planning on using Trello. And if you're planning on using Google Sheets, same principles. But I don't know, just figure it out. All right. And you can always get the most up-to-date version of this here. I'll upload it to Moodle later on, but the best bet is to always just go directly into Dropbox. Oops, copy Dropbox link. Why isn't that copying? Updated instructions for assignment 1. I'm not sure if my Dropbox is working. I didn't see the link getting created. Updated instructions for assignment 1. Yeah, that is it. Okay, good. So let's wrap this up. My wife wants to go shopping. She keeps like sending me these little text messages saying, when are we going shopping? So I just got to get this done now so I don't get in trouble with the boss. Oh yeah, we're over here. So now I have my assigned to developer queue. So Saeed's initial, and I'm sorry, I think it's Syed or Saida. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing anybody's name incorrectly. Now his question was, do you have to show timelines? And my answer is, well, you can be as complicated as you want. And the best suggestion I can give you is to just pay attention to your deliverable. You want to implement something which is going to track a bug request from the time you get it till the time you either fix it or you decide it's not really a bug or you decide it's a feature request. So, Saeed, sorry, I can't really explicitly answer your question because that's the assignment. You have to figure that part out by yourself. But this would be one way to do it. So now, let's say that I take this report and I've checked it. I say, yeah, okay, well, that's a problem. I think we better fix it. And now maybe every week on Thursday or something, I look at my resource scheduling and then I say, okay, well, I think Bill has a little bit of time, right? So let's move this over to our developer queue and let's edit it. And let's say Peter, or Peanut, I guess is the QA team lead here, assign this to developer Bill to fix. And if I had the power up, I could actually set it up right. Like I could set this up so Bill would automatically get notified. I could also set up a mention if Bill, or say, I'm going to assign this to Saeed. Saeed, by Monday, get this fixed. I've just assigned it to you. So anyway, I put that in there. And so when developer is returning this, so developer has actioned this, or whatever terms you want to use, that's your job, right? You have to figure out what to call it. So developer has, or completed task queue. My brain honestly isn't working, guys. I teach like 46 hours a week. So I assigned it to a developer. So returned from developer, let's say we're going to call it. So now Saeed has fixed this work right now. And we can say assign to QA for retesting. For retesting now. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it over to here and I'm going to edit it. By the way, are you amazed you're getting all of this for free? Right? In the 1990s, when I started at IBM, just the department I was in, we were paying $250,000 a year for data services just to move and to do these kinds of things we're doing right now for free, right? So you guys, you don't know what the world is you're living in. You have so much cool stuff, you're not even paying for it. Now here, I'm going to edit this. Now imagine Saeed notified me he returned it. So now here I'm going to make another comment. So we'll say developer returned this, meaning they fixed it. Now the developer does not need to fix it, by the way. The developer could. Saeed could have gotten back to me and he could have said, Peter, we're seriously screwed here. This is a bug which our current code base, like we really missed the boat big time on this. Yes, it's a bug, and no, we cannot fix it unless we do a major code rewrite. That can happen. But in this case, fortunately, Saeed was a smart guy, right? He fixed the code. So now we're saying developer returned it. So reassign to QA team for retesting. Reassign. See, this is fun, right? It's kind of interesting after a bunch of lecture to go hands-on. Reassign to QA, quality assurance team for retesting. And let's notify our QA person. And I think Harpantha, she has some cycles, right? I'm looking at my schedule of which developer is doing what. So I'm notifying her to go and test it. And now we have another column here. And problem fixed. So if you have a Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, you don't have automatic notification. That's one nice thing about Excel. So problem fixed, close ticket, notify the stakeholder who opened the ticket, close, and notify stakeholder. Stakeholder, there we go. So we'll add this list. And now we will move this over to here. Once our path gets back to us, it's all done. We'll move that over to there. See, that one card is being moved through our bug tracking application. And we are keeping a record of who did what when, and we are notifying the next action taker. So now we open it up here. So we edit. Oops. Open car. There we go. Watch my video. I talk about this much better then. Now here we say QA, our QA team member reports fix is working. Notify stakeholder. And maybe I even have my stakeholder in here. Let's say Joss, he opened the thing originally, so we're going to notify him that it's done now. And that is pretty much it. What I have just shown you is basically the L3 level 3 support process we used at the Toronto IBM lab. Right? So I think it's pretty good. Now, do I have any more questions or concerns? Let me cycle back to my meeting here. Where is my meeting? I lost it. Oh, there we go. All right, guys. So any other questions? If you have about 10 seconds to tell me because I'm about to collapse from unconsciousness here. All right, very good. So I'm going to save this video and I'm going to upload it and I'll put a link there. But for right now, just look at the Slack room. I'll go and update. What's that thing called? Moodle tomorrow. Moodle is, I don't know, it's harder to work with, and I'm honestly out of energy. Keep your eye on the Slack room. That's the best place to see it. All right, very good. So class dismissed. Thanks a lot for hanging around with me. If you weren't hanging around with me, I would have been talking to myself, and then everybody would say I'm crazy, which is probably the truth anyway, but we won't get into that. So stop video.